This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Hi, Annie. How are you?
Right, so what are we doing?
We're reiterating the weather, Gibbon. Parts of Britain faced winds gusting at 65 miles an hour today as the remnants of Hurricane Lorenzo passed over the country, which meant that we got 2 inches of rain in as little as 6 hours. And 2 inches in the metric system is a royale with cheese. Showers will fall across the country over the weekend, north, south, east and west. Here, there and everywhere, baby. But especially east. The Met Office issued an 18-hour severe rain warning for eastern Britain and Scotland. They said,
Warning, warning.
And while Glasgow is not on the east coast, not last time I looked, you can bet that Glasgow will be soaking. I can check on that while you wait. Well, let's see. It's raining tonight and raining tomorrow. This is Glasgow. So, raining tonight and raining tomorrow and raining on Sunday, and raining on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, and raining next Saturday and raining on Sunday and raining next Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and every single day up until the 17th of the month. Why does it always rain on me? It's the mountains and the prevailing wind. I think you'll find that's actually right. Every now and again I get something right, eh?
Affirmative.
Experts say that spray and flooding on roads will increase journey times for drivers, but not if they pick up speed, undertake and tailgate the car in front to make them go faster. These people are called Audi drivers. Train services could be affected, they said. Flooding of some homes and businesses are likely. Blimey, this whole country falls flat on its face at the merest hint of inclement weather, just like it did yesterday, when a few Belgian football fans went ape in London. Every single train going in or out was cancelled. On the rain thing, you'd think we'd be able to deal with a bit of rain. It's not like it doesn't ever rain here, crying out loud. The Environment Agency has imposed 21 flood alerts and 5 alerts. I don't know what that means. What's like a general alert? They released a statement. It said, I knew it was coming and it still made me laugh. The Royal National Lifeboat Institute said that they are concerned that many people will be lining quaysides and cliff tops to take selfies.
Oh, no.
Yes. And with the imminent risk of death if you get swept into the sea in the process. Of taking your perfected pout look. How can people not realise how stupid they look? Every single person who has ever had a picture accompany a news article in the Mail about some ne'er-do-well, it's always got the same look on. Like they've been standing in front of a mirror for about 15 hours a day perfecting their pout. No, not that angle, this angle. No, not that angle, this angle. What if I stick my tongue out? People used to read books. Hell, people used to write books. But now you're just trying to perfect your latest selfie to stick it up the internet. Because I want to be famous. So the Royal National Lifeboat Institute, this is a pretty position we find ourselves in, that the RNLI is telling people, don't be stupid. Get away from the edge of the cliff, you morons. Well, it's dramatic, innit, with the waves behind me. Oh, people will love this on the internet. I'll just stand here for 4 hours taking a picture of my face. I know I've said this before, but when people used to go on holiday, they used to come back and entertain people with their holiday pictures. And by entertain, I mean...
Boring!
Yeah, it was a little bit dull. But it would be things like, here's a picture of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, and here's a picture of wildebeests sweeping majestically across the plain. But these days, people say, oh, here's a picture of me, and here's a picture of me, and here's a picture of me, and oh, look, it's a picture of me. So the RNLI actually, presumably this is because they have been called out to rescue morons who've fallen into the sea trying to take their perfect facial pic. And they said, don't do it, it ain't worth it. And people responded by saying, oh, yes, it is. I will risk my life for a like from someone I don't I don't know on the internet. It's more important than life itself. Officials are urging people to stay well away from the edges of cliffs, piers, harbour walls and promenades. They want people to be sensible. Good luck with that. And would you like to know the long-range weather forecast, by the way?
No.
No. Well, the outlook from Sunday to Tuesday is rain and showers, some heavy. Heavy as in...
Yowza.
Yeah. And from Tuesday the 8th of October to Thursday the 17th. Holy moly. You see that written down? It's practically Christmas. Tuesday the 8th, windy, sunshine and showers, hail and thunder. It's like 4 seasons in a day. Unsettled for the rest of that week. Temperatures around average for the time of year, which doesn't sound that great. Drier spells may develop in the south and the east. So, like those people that do the weather on the TV, they say, so you want to go to, the east for the good weather. So people are just going to move house, depending on what the weather's going to be like at the weekend. And for the rest of this month, into the 1st of November, signs for a drier, brighter and more settled spell during the middle of the month. Temperatures are likely to be near or a touch above average for October. Above average? We'll take it. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Here's a suspiciously keen caller in Barnet. Chris.
Hi, Nick.
Chris.
And I haven't listened to you since when you were in the days of the other big radio station of London. But
well,
that's a long time ago.
I guess so.
It looks like you're doing sort of humour. Are you doing...
A sort of humour?
Yeah.
Oh, you're treading on rocky ground here, Chris. You can redeem yourself inside the next 5 seconds. Go ahead, try me. Oh, I'm sorry, time's up. 0345 6060 973. If you come to my house and you start with an insult, you ain't getting in. I mean, is that unclear to anybody? Is that unclear to you?
Perfectly clear.
Perfectly clear to him. I suppose you're doing a sort of comedy. Yeah, I've called, so I'm going to take over your show. I'll just flick you away for a moment, and it's all about me now. Yeah, better luck next time, Chris. Boris Johnson has been given 1 week to improve his Brexit offer to the EU. Boris has 7 days to save the world.
Oh, no.
He's expected to visit with a number of his European counterparts at the start of next week, none of whom want to see him. Hang on, I'm going to cough. I can't believe that anybody has actually agreed to see him. Why would they? God, the grief that we have given them. I'm amazed they haven't chucked us out yet. Never mind about us desperately trying to get a deal. Why haven't they just shown us the door yet? Boris Johnson's got 7 days to save the world, and it was priceless. He said, right, here's my plan. Here we go. Eurydice and Theseus never saw such a plan. And this, by the way, is my first plan and my last plan. This is my first offer, which is also coincidentally my last offer. Take it or leave it. And Europe said, well, no, do better. Boris said, I'll give you 3 weeks. That's my deadline. And Europe said, well, we'll give you 1 week to get a better plan. How does that suit? He's expected to visit with a number of his European counterparts at the start of next week in a bid to persuade them to back his final offer, which, like I said, was coincidentally his first offer. Your first offer is your final offer. And that offer is, basically, give me everything I want or I'll kill us all. Great negotiating, Boris. Initial noises from the EU have not been good for number 10. Well, as you would expect. First they said, no. And then they said, no. European ambassadors have reportedly set October the 11th as a cut-off date for Bozo to make his plan more palatable. or they'll sling us out. They'll have us marched out like that poor woman was marched out by Dominic Cummings' henchmen. Well, it was actually the police, wasn't it? Why were the police getting involved? If Dominic Cummings wants somebody chucked out of number 10, he should do it himself. Except he does look like the kind of person who would break into like a pencil given the slightest resistance, don't he? So we got 2 weeks before that big summit in Brussels on October the 17th. It's all coming to a head now. You know those flip-over dates in the newspapers? The Mail have been having one every day. So many days to go till Brexit. And for a while there, it looked like there were so many days that we could, any fool could fashion a success out of this situation. Look at the amount of days we've got left. But now it's just ticking over and we've got fewer and fewer. Can you believe it's October, by the way? I mean, I know time speeds up the older you get, but this is ridiculous. So Boris says it's his way or the highway. So we'd all better pack our bags because we're going hitching. We've got 2 weeks before the big summit meeting in Brussels on October the 17th. And that's the last summit they're going to have before the October the 31st departure date that Boris Johnson has written in blood. We gave them an ultimatum at the end of the month, and they said, we see your ultimatum and raise you one. How about you get your act together in 1 week? I am amazed they have put up with us for so long. I mean, people say, oh, well, the EU have been dragging their feet. You've got to be kidding me. The EU have been dragging their feet. You know, I know I've said this, but, you know, the news is just on repeat. The last time they gave us an extension, we said, thanks very much, we're all going on summer holidays. We'll see you in 7 weeks. Bye. Yeah, never mind about children in Scotland not getting the slap. I'm surprised that the European Union hasn't metaphorically yanked our shorts down and given us what for. I mean, it just shows how much the EU want to avoid destroying us all, that they've engaged with us and given us more time, and then more time, and then more time, like a kindly teacher would give a child who hasn't done their homework. But, you know, after a while, you need to get the cane out. Thank you, sir. May I have another? You know, and if Brussels rejects the plans, then the PM will be left with few options, which just might be the plan all along. Because it's the preferred outcome for those people who have bet against the pound. Like at the referendum, when those that were funding the campaign to leave were betting that it would be bad for the economy. I wonder if that's actually sunk in with a lot of people. The people that were funding the campaign for us to leave were also betting that to leave would destroy the pound. And they made hundreds of millions of pounds on that bet. How is that legal? I mean, it's not just me saying that, although I have been saying that for ages. And I don't like saying I told you so, but I told you so, I told you so, I told you so. Boris Johnson's own sister said this. She said he wanted hard Brexit to help city money men make a financial killing. You know, city money men. No! Yes, that's them. Rachel Johnson claimed that Boris was acting on behalf of vested financial interests who want to exploit Brexit to make money betting against Britain. Wow. She said her brother might have been backing people who have invested billions in shorting the pound or shorting the country. You want to make £100 million? Bet £1 billion that the pound will go down after we leave the EU. And it's not just me and her saying this. Former Chancellor Philip Hammond said Boris Johnson was backed by speculators who have bet billions on a hard Brexit and would benefit if the pound fell further. Which, if true, sounds like treason to me. In the battle between Boris and Rachel, I believe Johnson. How about you? 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday and Saturday night at 10, Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC. This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Hang about, Nick. Listen. Now, what I'm trying to say to you is this, Nick, right?
Phil in Durham said, and this is all in capital letters, like he's shouting at me. He says, does this Mark Abbott let Brexit... He spelled Abbott, by the way, correctly, which is very unusual. Does this Mark Abbott let Brexiteers onto his show? There's no question mark there, but I assume it's a question. Absolute one-sided bias, thanks. And the thanks is the only word in that that's not in capital letters. So it's like, yeah, thanks. Does this Mark Abbott let Brexiteers onto his show? Absolute one-sided bias, thanks. Are you kidding me? I sit here and get yelled at by Brexiteers for 6 hours a week. They're the only people that get on this show. People queuing up to call me a moron. But thanks, Phil. And I mean that in lowercase. Thanks. William says, after the second lot of 2,500 Steve Allen tea towels were released this morning, did you manage to purchase one in time? I had no idea. I missed out again. They would have been, one of those would have been absolutely perfect for polishing up my knickknacks. This anonymous message says, we just want Nigel Farage's phone call. Which phone call?
I'm immensely grateful to you for everything you've done in British politics over the last few years. I used to be an ardent Remainer. I voted Remain. I believed in the European project. Mm-hmm. I believed that staying in the European Union was the best thing for us. And then something happened and something monumental happened. It completely changed my opinion on the whole situation.
What was that monumental thing, Mark?
I was kicked in the head by a horse.
Right, very good. Okay, fine. Thank you.
No, thank you. I'm going to play that forever. It's the time. It's one of those things that will probably never get old because the timing is so exquisite. Laurel and Hardy could not have timed that better. Dowlin Hove says, I can't believe the pesky EU meanies won't give Boris everything he wants, and they're bleating on about minutiae like the integrity of the single market and avoiding civil war in Ireland. I mean, why can't they accept, we just want Brexit? Here is Todd. It's a place called Todd, and it's a person called Kath. Is that right?
Yeah.
Todd.
The reason why they don't want us to leave, because at the end of the day, they're going to lose a lot of money.
Who?
And they don't want Brexit to happen.
Who?
EU.
Oh, they're going to lose a lot of money.
At the end of the day, they will lose a lot of money, yeah, when there's no more money going in. If we got it right, in 2017, there was a contract signed that if we left without a deal, we didn't have to pay any money.
What contract?
And that would have kept us going until we got into the world's trading. But May decided, they can have the money.
Well, you've obviously done a lot of research,
let me tell you
Kath.
something else. I think this is what all these... Some people who don't want to leave, end of the day, they're scared of losing the free cars and the PIP and God knows what else. That's all it's boiling down to.
Free cars and
Why
PIP?
can't we not just leave? We don't... If they say we break contracts, well, what about them breaking contracts? They're breaking the biggest contract of all on the 2017.
They're breaking the biggest contract of all on the 2017.
Believe me, there was a contract signed.
Oh, well, I do believe you, Kath.
Without a deal.
You sound like an expert.
A penny.
Yeah.
Are you for real or what, mate?
No, this is... I definitely hope this isn't real life for Kath. I really genuinely hope I'm hallucinating. How about you?
No, I'm not hallucinating. You check it up if you don't believe me.
I won't check it up.
Well, why not? You'll find out that it is actually true.
I don't give me homework on a Friday night, but miss...
It's not homework, it's the truth.
Oh, well, we're not interested in the truth, Kath.
Let me tell you something. All this Brexit stuff is driving people crazy.
Yeah,
and sometimes when I listen to you, I do
obviously.
actually quite like listening to you, but sometimes you just go on and you drive me crazy.
Yeah, well, I think that's the answer that we're looking for.
I think it is.
explains a lot about this call. Crazy, you say? All right, Kath, leave it with me. Cheers, my dear. 0345 6060 973. Has this show made sense yet?
No.
Graham in Bradford says, you ex-public school boys are all the same. You think everything's funny, privilege. I don't think everything's funny, Graham in Bradford, but you are, if that's any help. Steve says, I heard that Christmas is going to be cancelled if we leave the EU. Is this a bad thing? What, Jesus' birthday? You bet it is. It's the only good thing about winter. It's the thing that makes winter shine. It's the glorious twinkling light at the end of this dark tunnel we're all about to go into. Pete says Viktor Orban may yet make a move in these shenanigans. I've got no idea what that means. Do you know what that means?
I think he might veto the extension.
Oh, well, anybody could. Anybody could. Because that's called a democracy. Meanwhile, in this country, we have an unelected leader who answers to an unelected head of state and is overseen by an unelected upper house. Thank goodness we're taking our country back. I would put Elizabeth on, but I don't think we've got it in just quite enough time. Elizabeth, can I ask you to hold?
Yes, you can.
What a polite lady. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Simon says, only 26 days left before Brexit. When 558 MPs voted to trigger Article 50 in 2017, they unwittingly made it a certainty that we would leave the EU on October the 31st. They enshrined it in EU law, which is superior to the rushed Benn Act of 2019. So Boris will write the stupid letter, the EU will give the extension, and we'll leave on Halloween using the EU's own law against them. Ha, ha, ha. And he made sense, kind of, up until the ha-ha-ha part. That just makes you sound a bit, I don't know, what's a polite way of saying demented? Tina in Norfolk says, I live on the East Coast, and this past week the drains have been cleaned in the local area. I can't help thinking that we're in for a tsunami. What, you think that the council's got forewarning about what might happen in the next couple of weeks? Coincidence, Tina. It's just coincidence. The local drains have been cleaned. Well, but you make that sound as though it's a remarkable phenomenon. Don't they ordinarily clean drains? You can get stuff in the supermarket for that. Give it a squirt. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday and Saturday night at 10, Nick Abbott, LBC. It's 10:30, the news headlines with Zora Sullivan.
The Duke of Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Thank you for holding. Your call is important to us.
Your call is important to me, Elizabeth. Thank you for holding.
That's okay.
Wow, you're loud.
Am I too loud?
Yeah, can you back off the phone a couple of feet?
I shall try. I don't think I've got it on loudspeaker. I try not to speak so loudly.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to call this now the land of the kicking cuddies.
The what?
The land of the kicking cuddies. Cuddy being, I believe, an Irish horse.
Is it? Well, I hope
I think so. But
because
we
it
seem to have
sounds,
thousands of them in this country.
It sounds really rude. But go on.
Yes. Well, what I wanted to say was, I believe that this extension that Boris is presumably going for, because he has to,
yeah.
I think that he and Cummings have another little plan. I think they plan to go there and ask for the extension, which they must do, but he may say, but we're not going to give you any money. Therefore, calling the EU to say, well, go run your bunny, if you like. Therefore, he can put all the blame on the union.
Yeah,
have
by
an
law.
election, and all of his followers will be there to back him up.
Yes, by law, he has to ask for an extension if we don't get it all signed, sealed and delivered with a kiss.
Yes, but he's saying private things in number 10 with his matey there, Cummings, and they could be thinking, well, we do have to ask for one, but in our private conversation you could say, well, we'll have one from you, but we're not giving you any money, we're not paying anything.
Yeah, I think he'll just ask with his fingers crossed, or give them one letter that says, please, sir, may we have an extension, and then give them another letter which says, we don't want one. Please disregard everything that I gave you in the previous letter.
Absolutely.
They are. They'll get out some way or another. But that Dominic Cummings, does he seem like a nice, likable person?
He's a horrible man. He's from Durham, you know.
Oh, well, say no more.
No, but I think his father or his uncle is a lord. Lord Hoare, I think it is.
Lord Hoare?
And yes, I've forgotten. It's a lord, and he's from an extremely privileged background himself.
No doubt. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks
anyway,
for the bad
by
news.
the by, I just wanted to say that. And
okay.
I think that your show is great. And as for the Brexiteers, well, they're always morons on here. They're all Brian from Teesside, that's what I say.
Don't sit on the fence, Elizabeth. Tell me what you think.
Oh, no, I shan't sit on the fence. I've been 3.5 years trying to sit on my side of the fence. Right. But I'm the only one up here who is not a leaver. I wanted to go Saturday to hear, what's her name, speaking the candidate for the Labour people here.
What's her name?
Laura Pitcott.
Oh, right.
Who can hardly string a sentence together as far as I'm concerned. She used to live opposite me, so I've spoken with her. But I decided I shouldn't go because I could be beat up, you know.
I think that's unlikely, Elizabeth, but probably...
Oh, no, you don't know.
Right, probably safe to stay in then.
It was better that I stayed home.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Thanks a lot, Elizabeth. Cheers, my dear. 0345 6060 973. Huh. Matt in Hove says Steve Allen tea towels are harder to get hold of than Glastonbury tickets. Who's playing? Have they released the details of who's playing Glastonbury this year? I've got no idea who it is, but can I say
boring
before I even see who's on the list? It'll be the same old names over and over and over again. Is it Coldplay? Who is it? Anybody? Any idea? You're a young person. They haven't announced it yet.
They've sold all the tickets.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because people don't go really to see bands. I can't recall the number of times I went to Glastonbury and didn't see a single band, which is really hard, you would think. Virtually impossible. Not one single band did I see for maybe 3-4 years running. Because they're all so dull, and there was just so much else to do. You know, grooving about.
Yowza.
Okay, here are the odds. Where did you get this?
This is according to the Standard.
Right. Well, what do they know?
I have no idea. These are the odds, though.
Right, okay. Taylor Swift. Which one's that? Is it 1 to 16? Now, is this bets or is this 1 of 16?
Oh, actually, reading it again, these are in top order, so she's the most likely according to the odds.
Oh, God, wow, yeah, like I said before.
Boring.
Taylor Swift and then Fleetwood Mac. Ooh, now we're talking. I'd cross the road to see Fleetwood Mac. The Spice Girls. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. The Spice Girls. No doubt they'll stick them on the legend slot. Because, you know, that's what they are. With their one song, A Zig a Zig Ah. Paul McCartney, again. Everybody on the left go, na 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 na. The 1975, Elton John, Green Day, Weezer, Fall Out Boy and Foals. Well, I might turn the TV on for some of them. Not many. Certainly wouldn't want to go. Not to that mess. It's gotten way too big. Way too big. Devon, hello, Bill.
Hello, mate. I'm just wondering about the next sort of 2 to 3 weeks could be based on one simple fact.
Go on.
If we give the sort of the Hungarians a really crappy bowl of goulash, they may say no to us.
I'd be surprised if several of them didn't say no to us. But that we must be so annoying to them. I mean, we were annoying when we wanted to be in. Now we've been saying the last 3 years and tied them up into knots.
You know, we need to get rid of Boris chap. I tell you, we need. I think.
Well, you're not alone. You're not alone in thinking that, Bill.
I reckon he's mentally ill. I reckon, and there must be some sort of amendment that we could say he's a right nutter boy. Right. We could bang him on the head with a hammer, and that's it. And we could have, I don't know, a sort of Neil Kinnock as step-in leader.
You mean that metaphorically, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just straight across the line, a little bit too much. We could knock Boris on the head with a gong and see what it sounds like. Rosalind says, why does Abbot always bang on about the weather? Lots of rain refills the reservoirs and provides the water cycle with replenishing stocks. Instead, Abbot just blasts it as a tragedy. It's not me saying it's a tragedy, it's the blooming weather experts. Don't put it at my door. It's the Met Office and the RNLI, who are all, as with one voice, saying...
Warning! Warning!
Yeah, it's not my fault. Andy says, can you advertise your new podcast again with your fictitious lady comedian friend, as it's been so long that I have forgotten when it's not coming out, and what it was, is, or might be, not going to be called. Looking forward to nothing. No facts, no promises, no podcast. Is it due to Halloween with our Brexit departure, or is your promise a serious promise for a seriously funny new podcast? Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that. Carol McGiffin and I are doing a podcast.
Oh, right, yeah.
It was supposed to come out last month. I promised you that it was going to come out last month, but it may come out this month.
Oh, right, yeah.
We've done 10 of them. We're just waiting for... I don't know. We're waiting for the artwork. Oh, my God, we've got Michelangelo in. It's going to be rivaling the Sistine Chapel. Don't you worry about that. I bet it's just the words, what's your problem with Nick and Carol? That'll be the artwork. But, you know, actual real-life experts need to be across this, and it's out of my hands. We've done them, but they're not out, and I don't know when they're coming out. But my podcast is out. Oh, if you like this, I think you'll find it a delight. It's 30 minutes of concentrated amusement. It's the best of this show. It's my favourite calls from this programme. Comes out Monday at noon. It's called The Nick Abbott Habit. If you download Global Player from your favourite app store, then you'll find that, in amongst all of the good stuff on there, like all the stations that we do here, Classic and Heart and Capital, and I better not get into the big long list because I've only got a 3-hour show. But all of the stations are on there, and many, many podcasts as well, in amongst which is mine. If you go to the podcast section, do a search on my name, the whole show will come up, which will take you 2.5 hours to listen to without the ads. And the news and, all the rest of it. Or the best of, which is the Nick Abbott Habit, that will come up as well. And that's the one you want because it's only a half an hour long. It's, I think you'll find it's amusing. The Nick Abbott Habit. Ask for it by name. Here is Spain. That's a bit vague. Where are you, Bob?
I'm ringing from Murcia in Spain.
From where?
In Murcia.
Murcia?
A little town called Fortuna.
Oh, yes.
Fantastic. I've been here 16 years.
Well, that sounds super.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Fantastic. I don't listen to the radio a lot because Sky have just knocked me off, so I listen to the radio now. Anyway, it's beside the point. But you were on about Boris.
Sky have knocked you off? What does that mean?
It's illegal in Spain to have Sky.
Is it?
I've had it 16 years and I just found out. So there you go. That's thousands of people in Spain have been knocked off. It doesn't matter.
Sky doesn't broadcast in Spain?
No.
I find that hard to believe. I thought they were everywhere.
I still pay through my bank. My bank still pays it. For the last 3 months, I've been knocked off the last 2 months.
Well, that's really weird. So you're paying for the service and they're not giving it to you anymore?
Of course. That's right. That's normal.
Huh.
That's normal in Spain.
Well, it must have freed up an enormous amount of time because it takes all of my free time just trying to keep up with the amount of space I've got on my recording device. I have to spend most of the day watching programmes I don't want to watch just to free up some space to record some other programmes I don't want to watch.
Well, all I watch Sky for is the sport, the football.
Right.
And since I've had got that, I've listened to the radio.
Yes.
I've listened to loads of people. Andrew Pierce, yourself. The first time I heard you tonight was
No, I apologise, Bob. I apologise for this whole...
No problem
this
at all.
whole show issue. I'm very, very sorry.
I am very sorry that I screwed up.
Don't be sorry about me. Right. Listen, I heard about you talking about the money, Boris, the money men.
Yes.
I'm honestly 100% behind Boris about Brexit. I really am. I've been here 16 years.
Right.
But the last 5 or 6 years, I've been changing money in England from my pension and all this. 113, 114. It's now 112. Where's all this money? All these money men are making. They're making nothing. Peanuts. If it's £10 million, what they're making? $500,000, $1 million.
Who are you talking about?
Peanuts.
Are you talking about?
When I change money out my pension money in England.
Yes. Into euros. You're getting less and less.
I get 113 max.
Yes, that's because the pound has dropped since the referendum by about 20% or something like that.
It dropped 3 years before that. 3 years before that. Now, I've lived here 16 years. I ran a bar for 12 years of them. Great bar, fantastic.
Well, I'm not so sure about that.
No, it was brilliant.
You seem like a biased judge, Bob. I'll reserve my judgment.
But what I'm trying to say, I've been trying to contact this programme for a long not a long time.
Well, I don't know where you've been, Bob. I've been over here. Not that hard.
I know. Well, I'm over a lovely place in Spain. But what I'm saying to you, if Boris, bless him, I love Boris to bits, I do. If he doesn't, now, so what if he sent a letter to say he's knock it on the head in a month, right? In a month's time.
Knock what on the head?
He's going to get out of the EU in a month's time.
Yeah. By the end of this month.
No, November. So if he says in November the 1st, I'm getting out within 1 month to be right with the law, do everything with the law, would the law say to him, if he didn't write that letter, would he be contempt of court? If he was in contempt of court and found guilty, he wouldn't be able to be an MP anymore.
What,
would he?
Being as how he'd be in jail, you mean?
No, not in jail, but an offence. He's an offender. Yeah, offender. Be in jail.
Right. They're desperately trying to find some workaround. They'll hand the letter in that says, right, that's it, we're leaving.
No, tell me, please, tell me.
Yes.
Are you Brexit or Remain? Please tell me this.
Oh, God. I'm in the camp that just wants it to be over.
And done with. Over and done with.
Yeah.
But I really believe, if Brexit, if Boris sends a letter in and he's out, and he shouldn't do that, he shouldn't do it at all. He shouldn't do that. But if he did, then he'd be okay in that respect.
Right. You know, Bob, when all this is over, you might have to come back here.
Why would I come back? I'm 72 years old. I've worked all my life. What do you mean? What do I want to come back there for?
Well, they might make it difficult for you to stay.
I got out of England, or Britain. I got out of Britain, and my dad asked me that. What are you leaving Britain for, son? And
yeah.
He cried his eyes. I said, Britain's shot, Dad. I said, Britain's shot. I'm not a racist.
But yeah, okay, I've heard that sentence. I've heard that sentence about 1 million times. Approximately 1 million times. Yeah, I'm not a racist, but... And when they stick the but in there... Warning! You don't want to hear what comes next. But people do... it's kind of comical that people get more and more patriotic the further and further away they get from this country. I love my country. It's just that I couldn't stand living there, apart from that. But I do wish you all the best with your rain and your wind and your cold. Thanks a lot, mate. Thanks for your support. 03, talk about treasonous. I can't believe it. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday and Saturday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
Here leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
Hello, boys.
Winston says, Nick, you just said that the pound has dropped. Please do not spread fake news. It has not dropped at all. Merely gone back to what it was in the early 2000s, says Winston, which is, in fact, completely incorrect in every respect. In the early 2000s, the pound against the euro got 166. You got 166 euros to the pound. Now it's 112. Now, I'm no maths expert, but 112 is a smaller number than 166. God, that's even worse than a 20% drop, isn't it? But Winston is perfectly he's perfectly at will, at odds. He's perfectly at... What the hell's the word I'm looking for? This happens every show. Just one word. I'm sitting there fishing for a word over the end of a pier. He's perfectly at liberty. Is that what you were going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah, sure you were. Winston is perfectly at liberty to make up his own facts. Everybody gets to have their own facts now. It's not fake news. It's dropped 166 in the year 2000 and 2001 and 2002. That sounds like the early 2000s to me. 166 then, 112 now. That sounds like a drop. But as I said, I'm no arithmetical expert. Chislehurst. Hello, Ross.
Yo, Nick. I just want to say that there aren't enough toilets on the trains anymore.
There are not enough toilets on the trains anymore.
Yeah, I think most of your listeners will understand what I'm saying.
Are you talking about tube trains? Because the whole of the tube train is a toilet. Just go wherever you like.
No, that's not what I mean. I mean actual trains. I mean, not overground trains, but like, commuter trains.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call them.
Well, how many toilets do you require?
I think we need like one or two per every one or two carriages. I don't know. I think we need a lot more than we have right now. I've just been waiting for a train, and then I get on it, and there's no toilet, and I just feel like that's really bad.
Well, it used to be much worse than that, Ross. When you got on a train, you used to get in a small carriage, and there was no corridor. You were stuck in that carriage, so you had to go out the window.
No, it's all because of Brexit. You just have to blame that. And right now, look, Nick, you're just a left-wing loony, and there's no reason why we should have this situation right now.
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right. You're making a lot of sense, Ross.
It's because you're a Londoner.
Yeah,
you're a Londoner. You have no idea what's going on in the real world.
Well, maybe it's because I'm a Londoner.
No. Listen, Nick. Okay. Listen, little Nicky, yeah? I'm sitting right here, and I'm looking at
Okay, well, if you sit right there, I'll always know where you are. Thanks a lot, Ross. Don't move an inch. Sam says, your podcast was under popular stations in your area on my TuneIn radio app the other day. Have you heard of Brexit psychosis? It's a thing, apparently. A lot of your trolls may be suffering from it. Well, that last guy was suffering from something. Maybe he's been holding it in too long. It's backing up on him. It's possible. I'm sure that's a medical, a recognised medical phenomenon. Rob says, I went to Spain in 2014 and the pound was worth 146. He's talking out of his backside. Who? That last caller? Or that Winston or whatever his name was. The euro versus the pound was never 166. You might have Brexit's psychosis, says this anonymous interlocutor. Yes, it blooming well was. Crying out loud, just look it up. It was 166 in September 2000. I ain't making this stuff up. These are facts, baby.
Affirmative.
Andy says, can you have oh no, I read that. Tina says, Nick, it's Tina again. Again? Oh, you can't tweet twice. Those are the rules. What does she want? It's Tina again. Tina out of Great Yarmouth, wherever that is. She says it's a remarkable occurrence if anything in Great Yarmouth gets cleaned. Have you been here lately? Certainly not. I've never been there. P.S. I think the council are great, she says. She's the drain lady. She's the drain
lady.
She's the drain lady. Hey, Tina, you're the drain lady. Banging on about her drains. Oh, they cleaned them. Gave them a squirt. I don't think I've ever been to Great Yarmouth. What's in Great Yarmouth? And what's so great about it, by the way? Hello? No, last time I went to the seaside, beside the sea, was Folkestone, which is excellent in every regard. That jetty thing they've got there, where the train used to go out to the edge of the jetty thing, is superb. I love it. Shame it takes 2.5 hours to get there, eh? How does it take 2.5 hours to get from here to there? Everything is so slow in this country. And did you try to take a train yesterday in London? Good grief. Some morons let off a flare in King's Cross and the whole of London comes to a standstill. God. Belgian people as well. I had no idea they were so, well, what's the word? What's a polite way of saying stupid? In French. Pleasure Beach Sea Life Resort and Time and Tide Museum. What's this?
They're things to do in Great Yarmouth.
Right. If you're stuck there, you mean. Pleasure Beach? What's so pleasurable about it? Be blooming freezing, I bet. Is that one of these places that's got rocks instead of sand? Although, speaking of somebody who doesn't like to take their clothes off on a beach...
Disgusting.
I prefer rocks myself. If you want to sit under the shade of a pier in all of your clothes, then you don't really want to sit in sand. You'd prefer to, or I do, prefer to sit on rocks, which is why Brighton is perfect in that regard. And in no other regard, by the way. Pleasure Beach is a theme park. A theme park? Oh, right. Okay. Lots of rides that you don't want to go on. Okay. Yeah, lots of rides, the kind of ride that features on the news. Some poor types have been hanging upside down for the last 3 hours. One of those rides. No thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. But I appreciate it.
Thank you.
0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday and Saturday night at 10, Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
Hello, boys.
Everything is going extremely well.
You bet your life it is. This says, ask Brexiteers, 1, why did you vote to leave the single market? 2, why did you vote to leave the customs union? Go on, we'd all love to know. I bet they now would too. Don't stir. I can tell you what they will say. Off the top of my head. I know exactly what they will say. Oh, well, it's because we wanted to take back democracy, they'll say. Which is a bit weird because we are taking back control from an entirely democratic organisation and gifting it to a few spectacularly rich elites. Or they'll say, well, we want to take our borders back. Which seems a bit odd that we're now determined to make the EU not put a border up between us and them, despite the fact that we're insisting on leaving. Or they'll say, we want to take back control of our laws. And I've gone through this so many times. I will raise my eyes to the ceiling and then ask, which law in particular are you aggrieved about? Can you not wait to get out from underneath? And they'll say, all of them. Meaning they've not got a clue. Simon in Canterbury says, yeah, and it was 106 in 2009. Rates go up and down all the time, worse than it is now, but hey, you don't like to mention that. A brief period. Well, first of all, the person called in and said it used to be better in the early 2000s. 2009 is not the early 2000s, so I was correcting that. And in 2009, it may well have been about as bad as it is now. But then it went up and then it went down again. They don't just generally go up and down. The pound is the worst performing major currency in the world since the referendum. Coincidence?
No.
Of course not. Mark tweets, the euro... Oh, God. The euro rate... okay, stop with the rates and the numbers. I'm right and you're wrong. Just admit it. Hayes, Navid.
Oh, hi, Nick.
Navid.
How are you doing?
All right.
Hi, Nick. This Brexit debate is really scary, and I try now to stay away from it. I mean...
How's that going?
Not very well, because perfectly sane people, perfectly sane friends go absolutely potty. I mean, I'll tell you what happened tonight. There was a meme that popped up on my Facebook with Margaret Thatcher's picture saying that I would have had this deal done by tea time, and the EU would have been begging me for a deal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all
She'd
I
have hit him with a handbag, yeah, sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all I pointed out was actually she's, one of the architects of the single market, and she actually renegotiated the rebate in the 80s. And that's all it took. It was a sensible discussion that I was trying to trigger. And all I got back was this interminable cacophony of nonsense that, they literally beat you into submission with. And I just you cannot engage them in a sensible conversation.
That is a microcosm of what's happened to the country. They have beat us into submission by shouting the loudest. This country is now being led by whoever shouts the loudest. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
Well, they throw it's like a machine gun of slogans. It just keeps coming at you, and none of it makes any sense. And to give you an idea, and you won't believe this, Nick, but it's true. I mean, I'm an Asian Muslim. British. I was born here. Lived here all my life. But I tell you, Nick, people are more willing to. And I did this as a joke experiment. I filmed it. It was basically people are more willing to hear your views on how you feel about holy war than they are about Brexit. As soon as you mention Brexit, you're a traitor and you should leave the country. And it's that insane.
People go from naught to crazy in 6 seconds or less when the word Brexit comes up.
6 seconds at least allows you to get out the room. I think it's far quicker than that. You see their eyes change. It's almost like a zombie-like transformation. It's a different person.
Yeah.
It is not that same person anymore.
Well, here's an excellent tip. Don't bring up the subject of Brexit with anyone that you know, family members, friends, or otherwise.
No, it's normally friends, Nick. They're the craziest. I mean, you've known this person for the last 15 to 20 years.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're looking at this manimal-like transformation happen right in front of your eyes, and you think, who is this person? And this is how it's become. I mean, we can laugh about it, but people genuinely want something they have no idea about, and which is the most insane thing. What do you want? And they don't know what they want. They just want Brexit done.
Yeah. We just want Brexit, they'll say. Yeah, as though that's the key to a better life. Well, to be fair to them, they were told exactly that. Vote for Brexit, and that is the key to a better life. So it's like giving somebody a winning lottery ticket. Where's my prize? They're thinking.
No, absolutely, I agree with you, and I think people have bought. They're so invested in it now, emotionally. That they've put everything in. It's like the Nigerian scams, the 419 scams. They keep asking you to send money, and in the back of your mind, you've lost all that money, but you keep ploughing more and more in.
Well,
in the hope.
You speak for yourself, mate. By the way, what's your PIN number, Naveed? Pop it on a postcard and send it in, and stick it in a postbox. All right. And don't bring up Brexit with any of your friends. I made that mistake myself. Had an absolutely colossal row with one of my oldest friends, and we have never mentioned the B word again. I recommend you don't do that either. John says, don't you get it? That's a bad start. That's a bad start. Don't you get it? He says, we want out of the EU single market and the customs union, and we want a free trade deal, and we won't stop until we get it, so you might as well get on board, mate, and start helping, not hindering. Oh, I see. It's my fault. You want out of the EU single market, really? And out of the customs union, I see. And you want a free trade deal. So you want the deal that we got now, but just no part of the deal that we've got now. I see. Well, that makes perfect sense. Pam in Shrewsbury says, there's lots of toilets on Virgin trains. I don't think I've ever been on a Virgin train. But Pam recommends the facilities. Well, she doesn't, to be fair, she doesn't actually recommend them, but she's impressed with their number. They've got loads of them on Virgin trains, apparently, toilets. Martin says, great for exporters. Oh, you mean the pound that's sunk? Yeah. Well, that's right. Terrible for importers. And as we import more than we export, then, as a nation, we're suffering. But, these are just facts, and nobody's remotely interested in those anymore. Mike in Glasgow says, oh, God, no more pounds versus the euro.
Okay.
People just picking random dates. Say, well, you got it wrong there, you see. In September the 9th, 1974, it was this. Rubbish. Let's have Woodford. Hello, John.
Hello?
Yes, John.
My God, I'm on.
Yeah, it sounds like you.
Right. Your program is very interesting. I want to come on it.
I think that's called damning with faint praise. Interesting, you say.
Well, if I could come on to the psychology of what's going on in this country at the moment, I don't know if that's too deep, but can I say? You still there?
Yes, I'm curious as to where this is going.
Right. Do you remember in the old days when you watched a film, or even in these days, you watched a film and there were the baddies and the goodies, and everybody always went for the baddies.
What do you mean by went for?
Well, because they were always more appealing.
No,
sorry.
that's completely untrue. You came out of the cinema wanting to be James Bond. I mean, and for a couple of minutes after you'd left the cinema, you were James Bond. Don't you remember that? Or you were kung fu fighting.
Forward. I understand that, but what I'm trying to say is that I am a more left wing than right wing. I'm not a great Boris Johnson fan, but somehow when I see him, he has an appeal that I can't even ignore, and I should, because I don't believe anything he says. But somehow he comes across to me and gives me information that I don't really want to hear. But I sometimes, if you don't understand that sometimes the people that are wrong aren't necessarily wrong in the eyes of other people. I've heard so many ladies and old ladies come on and say how much they love this man, and yet he's done so many bad things.
To ladies specifically, what is the appeal, ladies, of a person who looks like a sticky-fingered schoolboy?
Yeah, hang on, you sound like you're jealous. Oh, come on, Nick. Come on, be honest. He has an appeal that we would love, I would love the Labour Party to have had. I mean, if you compare, what's his name? There's no way that he compares to Boris Johnson, who says everything wrong, and yet he comes across as being the person you want to listen to.
Yes, John, but you're not describing characteristics that pertain to being the leader of a country. You're describing the characteristics that pertain to being a member of a TV panel show.
It doesn't matter how you see it. That's your interpretation. It's not mine. I'm wondering is why this man, who is so wrong, who's done so many bad things, has done this and lied here, there, and everywhere, and is still appealing. So surely you not see what I'm trying to say, that this man still gets votes and still is loved because of the terrible way he may behave. Because that's what the human psyche, the human nature, wants a baddie rather than a goodie. Now, come on, you can't ignore that.
I am ignoring it. I don't think you're right at all. I don't think people see him as a baddie. They aren't attracted to him as a baddie.
I didn't say that.
I think you did say that. They're attracted to him.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
He looked upon as a baddie, and the people that come on and speak on LBC, it seems to be mainly ladies and old ladies that seem to think that whatever he does, even in his personal life, isn't bad at all because he wants to do this and he wants to do that. And somehow he comes across that. So it isn't down to what's right and what's wrong, it's down to personality. Now, come on, you've got to agree with that. Personality, in the end, is what counts.
No, of course it's not. It's what you intend to do in your position, not whether you're a likable person. I'm sure people were attracted. And there's a warning that comes with this. I'm about to say the AH name.
Warning! Warning!
I'm sure that Adolf Hitler was attractive to a lot of people. They thought, God, he's a really nice man, isn't he? Well, the History Channel will tell you otherwise. Now, I'm not comparing Boris Johnson to Adolf Hitler, but that's just,
I
an
agree with that.
extreme example.
I agree exactly what you're saying, but you not see what's happening here. That even though he came across as bad, Hitler still actually became the top dog. And
yeah, but that wasn't through being popular. That was through the weird, undemocratic system of electing a leader that we have in this country.
Hang on. What are you talking about? It wasn't because he was popular. Of course he was popular. He shouted and screamed at the public, and he won. And
he didn't win a vote from the public.
I'm sorry. I think you're wrong. Of course.
Well, I'm not wrong. He has not gone through a general election. The public did not vote for Boris Johnson, John.
Nick, let me tell you something. Can I say something? The last time I was wrong was 1963. And I know then that I was wrong, but even then...
Well, what did you do in 1963?
Well, in August 1963, I believe it would snow the next day, and it didn't.
In August?
Really annoyed me, but that was another story.
Right.
Listen, don't let's get wound up in this...
In fact, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. John, I've got to go, because that is a terrible phone. You want to get that changed straight away. Joe in South Norwood says, this caller sounds like he's calling direct from the 1930s. Crackle, crackle, crackle. Yeah, see? Got people complaining, John. And uniquely, not about me. Dean in Suffolk says, have you been told to dumb down the sound effects? Dumb down? What? Dumber than this? There is nothing dumber than that. Dumb them down. How could you get dumber? I'm doing my very best to be as dumb as I possibly can. How am I doing? 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday and Saturday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
Brexit. This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Would you mind telling me what this is all about?
It's about the weird attraction of Boris Johnson. Very, very strange. Well, he's got an act. And that act has been allowing him to get away with it ever since he was a school child. When, incidentally, he used to wear the exact same hairstyle. Who wears the same hairstyle when he's 5 as when he's 50? Only Boris.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Only him. Chris in Canterbury says, taking it back from a democratic organisation? Really? So what's democratic about a European president? The @ is selected. I don't know what that means. And then decides himself singularly on his own whether we can leave or not. The pound is not failing. It failed worse from the 2008 financial crash. Oh, I see. The biggest crash in history, certainly within living memory, and it's not that bad. So that's what constitutes a success in your book, Chris. Hackney, hello, Richard.
Hello, Nick. Do you not think that this... I've been thinking about this.
There's something wrong with the phones this evening. He just cut himself off. It's a dream come true. Try again. Reigate. Hello, Danny.
Hey, how you doing, Nick?
All right, thanks.
Long-time fan, first-time caller.
Oh, good, man.
And I just want to chime in with your previous caller, and I think the word he was missing for when he was talking about how people like bad guys is Boris Johnson has charisma. And I'm not a fan. I remember when he was running for mayor and on Question Time, his sister had to defend him because everyone was incredulous, thinking, how can Boris be mayor? And all of a sudden, he was mayor. The guy's got charisma, and I think when people look at him, they understand, they go, oh, he can't do that much harm. He's a bit bumbling. He's not 100% sure what he's doing. He can't do that much harm. But look, the guy has got incredible advisors around. I'm not talking about Dominic Cummings. There are other people. and they know their strategy. Their strategy is simple. They go up against the system. The system says, no, you can't have your Brexit. He goes back to the people and says, look, guys, I really tried. You've got to vote for me and give me my landslide. Then I can give you exactly what you want. Because the one thing I understand about the English, you guys love an underdog. I mean, there's always an Eddie the Eagle somewhere or a Boris Johnson somewhere.
Oh,
you guys
please.
are like, come on.
Eddie the Eagle was an underdog. Boris Johnson is part of the elite.
Of course he is. But he's pretending to be an underdog.
Yeah.
You know, he's a wolf in sheep's clothing. And, you know, please do not underestimate him at your worst peril. And I would love Jeremy Corbyn to have the same charisma that he does. And I think one of Labour's biggest problems was I was a huge Tony Blair fan until he sided with the Americans in that silly war. But, you know, Boris has charisma, and I don't want to ring back to your previous call, the AH name. We don't want to go down that way. But you know what? The National Socialist Party won a lot of votes.
Yeah.
And when they saw him, they knew this guy had charisma.
Yeah, he was a big hit.
He went on to be a crazy madman who, you know, murdered innocent people. But that's
but apart from that,
conversation.
All right,
thanks. Your kids' party.
Yeah, all right. Thanks, Danny. So let that be a lesson.
Warning.
Don't elect anybody with personality. Nobody with charisma. And as for strategy, I think that Boris Johnson's got the same strategy as Donald Trump.
There's no strategy. I have no strategy. There's zero strategy.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what it looks like. Roger in Brentwood says, we don't vote for prime ministers. I'm surprised you didn't know that, Nick. Oh, God, a pedant. Yes, and people like that want it both ways. Yes, I know that we don't vote for prime ministers. I know that we vote for our local MP. But if I went with a clipboard around the country and asked people who their local MP was, I bet almost no one would have a clue. Because actually, you do vote for prime ministers. When the parties go to the polls, you have in mind the leader of that party because they are representing the party that you're voting for. You don't vote for your local MP because your local MP has his or her or its hands tied behind them by the 3-line whip and the 2-line whip and just an actual whip. Roger in Brent, yeah, I read that. Of course I know that, Roger. We don't vote for prime ministers, but we actually do. Dorothy says, I love your programme, but I also love Nigel, Boris and Donald. Well, that's spreading it about a bit. Dorothy? It's a bit indiscriminate, isn't it? You love everybody. She's all about the love. Chris in Canterbury says, taking it back from a oh no, I've read that. Why are these ones that I've read still there, tripping me up all the time? It's my fault, I expect. John says, what's with your caller so keen on train loos? Is he a train loo inspector? Is he desperate to go? Or is the loo where he hides from the ticket conductor? I suppose a toilet could be a place where a passenger can guarantee a seat. Yeah, but you wouldn't want to sit on it, though, would you?
Disgusting.
I don't know. Well, I do know. In fact, I'm not going to go down that alley. Let's not talk about peeing on the toilet seat. It's unseemly. Let's have Hackney. Is this the fellow I was talking about earlier on? Talking to, rather. Richard.
It is.
Yes.
I'm back.
You're back.
Something happened. I don't know what.
No, I don't know what.
Have you seen Angus Young lately?
Angus Young?
ACDC.
No.
Remember he used to go around in a schoolboy?
Yeah, of course. I saw that band when he was the age of a schoolboy. Their
exactly.
First ever tour in this country.
Yeah, and he kept up with it, and he wore the schoolboy outfit. Because he's in his late 60s now.
Right.
And he's a bit balding.
Yeah.
And it kind of doesn't work.
It's like the guy out of The Cure. They sort of stick with an image that looks good when you're a teenager, but just looks dreadful on an adult.
Right. Speaking of Boris...
You know, the only guy who I think really managed to as they would say in the tabloids, rock the look that he used to have when he was younger and can still get away with it, is Keith Richards. I can't think of anybody else, can you?
Alice Cooper?
No, Alice Cooper looks dreadful now. There was a picture of him in a paper the other day. He looks like death warmed up.
Keith Richards always looked like.
Well, that's exactly right. He always looked like he's just barely clinging on to life.
But this is coming to Boris now, because that whole ruffled schoolboy. I'm sorry, I don't quite have my notes on me.
Yes.
Dog ate my homework.
Right.
Was charming 30 years ago.
Well, this is the reason why he's been continually able to get away with stuff, because he does that.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
That routine.
Yeah, but having ruffled hair doesn't kind of work when you're going bald in the middle of your ruffled hair.
I think
he just hasn't grown up.
Well, I think now his hair is less ruffled and more artfully placed to conceal a lack of hair.
Yes. I wonder what other major world leader talks nonsense and is touchy about his hair we can think of.
Touchy about his hair? Well, I can't think of anybody at all.
No, I can't.
Shut up!
Yeah. All right, thanks a lot, Richard. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday and Saturday night at 10, Nick Abbott, LBC. Oh, look, it's 11:30. The news headlines with Zora Sullivan.
Nick Abbott on LBC.
Hello.
MB says, Nick, stop telling porkies. Any member of the public could have voted for or against Boris becoming Prime Minister. All you had to do was join the Conservative Party for the privilege. That's what I did to get Boris elected, says MB. Yeah, that's right, because in our democracy, you have to pay for the privilege of having a vote. Thank goodness we're getting our country back. Stephen Luton says, Boris Johnson is a smooth operator. Just admit it, Abbott. I don't admit it. That's the last thing I'll admit. Smooth? He's the opposite of smooth. He's ruffled, not smooth. Edin Godalming says, do you reckon we're going to have crocodiles in the moat between the borders in Ireland? Well, that's that Donny story. I don't know if I'll have time to get onto that today, but certainly tomorrow. If not today, then tomorrow. Donald Trump and his berserk antics.
Is he crazy, or is that just the way he acts?
Crazy. And Will says, Ronald Reagan, actor, Donald Trump, TV celebrity, Tony Blair, actor, Boris Johnson, comedian, Ukraine's new president, TV comic, actor. A trend? Tony Blair wasn't an actor. But Boris Johnson was a comedian. You're right about all of the other stuff. Yeah, it is a trend. It's a bad trend. And James in Rio says, texting all the way from Rio de Janeiro, waiting to see Iron Maiden in Rock in Rio. He says, I've no way of hearing your show, but just thought you'd appreciate a rock and roll text. Well, I certainly do. So I looked up the lineup. Iron Maiden, Anthrax, and Scorpions. A little Michael Schenker action.
Rock and roll!
That sounds great. By the way, if you're listening, Mum, the best of Anthrax is what I'm getting you for Christmas. You'll love it. Hello, Aslan.
Oh, hey there, Nick. How are you doing?
Good, thanks.
Anyway, I just wanted to start by posing a question to you. Do you think, despite everything Boris has done, obviously, in the past 1 to 2 months, he actually believes in Brexit?
Do I think he believes in it?
Yeah. Do you think, as the true Boris, let's say, do you think he believes in Brexit?
I think he believes that it's going to do him personally. It will favour him personally if he can get it done. Yes.
In terms of his legacy.
But I don't. Which is not the same as saying, does he believe that it's a good thing for the country? I think that he believes it's a good thing for him.
Yes, that's what I'm getting to. So, essentially, I would say I somewhat agree with the previous caller that he is portraying himself as the underdog, despite, as you said, very clearly being part of the elite.
A very gilded elite. I mean, he's the elite of the elite.
Of course, he is, and he wants to be that sort of romantic hero, as dare I say it, David Cameron said. He wants to present a romanticised view of Brexit, but it's not just that. I think it's the willingness of people who don't deal in facts, deal in pure emotion, and believe things on the basis of their own whims.
Yes. Well, this was the plan all along, and we know that it was the plan because they told us that it was the plan. These people are like Donald Trump.
Yeah.
They tell you what they're doing, and then they admit it. It was totally me. I'm totally guilty. And then they claim that they'll say, yes, I did that crime. Oh, and by the way, crime isn't illegal. That'll be the defence.
Yeah.
He said, while he was in front of the Parliamentary Select Committee, he said that we weren't interested in facts. People, if you tell people facts, it's just white noise to them. We're dealing with emotions here.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm getting to. That he knows that if he says specific things, if he uses specific language, that he can appeal to a subset of the population that just deals in no facts whatsoever.
All you have to do is get 30% of the population to believe any old tripe you shovel at them, and you will win the election. Look at Donald Trump.
Exactly.
That's precisely what happened with Donald Trump.
Precisely, and obviously with our voting system, that's completely possible.
Yeah.
Our terrible voting system, I think, on a personal level.
Well, they also have a terrible voting system in America, and it got them.
Of course, the Electoral College.
You know who, much to everyone's amazement.
I'm president. Can you believe it?
Including the amazement of the president himself.
Yeah, and it may seem strange to us, but to these people who just don't deal in facts, Boris Johnson is that hero for them, and everything that opposes him, all those pesky experts, that's just the establishment fighting.
Yeah,
I don't know, the underdog. Or
what's amazing to me is that the poor people, the left behind, have been persuaded that somebody like Boris Johnson, an old Etonian millionaire, is on their side. What on earth possesses you to think that? I'm thinking.
Well, I mean, obviously, I don't mean to be rude, but lack of education is part of it.
Do you think?
I love the poorly educated.
Do I think? Yeah, I know. Of course, I know. But yeah, it's a huge part of it. It's the tendency to, as a result, go towards emotions, not facts, and not dealing in.
Well, it doesn't really matter whether you're highly educated or not. Everybody is swayed by emotions, much more than they are by facts. And unfortunately, that's where we are in our political discourse here and on the other side of the Atlantic. We're all about emotions.
Yeah, and I would definitely say that as a result, quite all of the parties, in fact, are very extreme and still manage to appeal to people. And to be honest, I don't understand why totally, but they still get plenty of support. It's kind of crazy to me.
Well, we're in a wild and crazy place.
Yeah, I personally just cannot think of anyone to vote for at the moment. I would have traditionally voted Lib Dem a few years. I mean, I'm not old.
Well, why not? They're having a moment. Why not Lib Dems?
I wasn't old enough a few years ago, but I was very pro-Lib Dem in the past. But not anymore. I'm just I'm turned off by their Brexit policy, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah.
How about the Greenies?
No, definitely not.
Right. Well, you're very hard to please.
Yeah, I just want a kind of rational, centrist, moderate sort of government that does things, that looks at the problems in society and tries to tackle them properly.
Right. So you want a return of Tony Blair?
I knew you were going to say that. To be honest, I don't know. I'm not quite sure I truly want besides that.
Tony Blair could be the person that brings this country together again. Hands up who agrees.
Yeah, let's bring Blair back.
Yeah, apparently not.
No, terrible idea.
All right. Yeah. Okay, well, it's a terrible idea. It's worse than all of the other ideas, except that it isn't.
Yeah.
I kind of screwed that up, but arrange those words into something that makes sense. All right, thanks a lot, Aslan. It's the worst idea in the world apart from all of the others. That's what I was going for. Paul says, God, this is a very long... Is this worth reading?
It's really good.
It's like a book he's written. Okay, then. Hi, Nick. Train toilets. I once travelled on a service to somewhere up north to collect a motorbike. On board I had a call of nature. So I found the toilet which had one of these electric sliding doors. I pushed the button and it opened. I entered and I found the close button. I began to do what I had to do and the door suddenly opened and a fellow passenger was standing there staring at me. It was an awkward moment as I then looked at the control panel and realised that there was a further button that I should have pushed to lock the door. Why would you need another push button once you're inside the loo to lock it? The loo must know you want it locked. I felt like Frank Spencer when he was in that high-tech 70s loo. I don't recall that. I had a problem with Frank Spencer. What was Frank Spencer? What was that character? He's right, by the way. Why do you need an extra button? I mean, that's just one more disgusting thing to have to touch in the toilet, which I'd rather get in and out of without touching anything. Thank you very much. You close the door, and then you have to have another button lock the door. What could you possibly be doing in there that you would close the door on yourself and then not lock it? Why? You just close the door and then open the door when you're finished. Or halfway through finishing. Whatever floats your boat. But Frank Spencer, what was that character? He was either mentally ill, which made for uncomfortable viewing, or he was the gayest straight man in history. What was he? I never did get it. I'll add it to the things I don't get. Dal says, I'd like to inform you that you're completely wrong about Trump in every way. The man is a genius with a huge plan to save humanity. I obviously don't expect you to believe me, but that's just because you've been misinformed over the last 3 years. Well, there's a lot of misinformation going on. Dal loves President Trump.
You are going to love President Trump.
Here on LBC, Nick Abbott. On LBC, call 0345 6060 973.
Nobody knows who the hell he is.
John says, no, EU, no single market, no customs union, just a free trade deal. If you want the best for this country, you'd want that too. No, EU, no single market, no customs union, just a free trade deal. If you want the best for this country, you'd want that too. So no single market and no customs union, you just want a free trade deal. But we have the best possible free trade deal now. So we're leaving a free trade deal in order to get a free trade deal. Does that make sense?
No.
Not really. Martina says, what's this I hear about Rudy Giuliani wanting to be mayor of London? What? Rudy Giuliani to be mayor of London? Can he, says Martina. I never heard that. God, wouldn't that be that would be the end of that. I mean, what with this kaleidoscopic clown show going on here and that, Rudy Giuliani, Donald Trump's personal lawyer. Thornton Heath, hello, Sam.
Hello, Nick. I
Sam.
haven't spoken for a long time.
What?
I haven't rung up for a long time. I'm trying to catch up on my sleep.
Yeah.
But, I'm a bit dozy because I take night.
You can say that again.
Help me sleep. Otherwise, I sound like a runaway train. So what happened was about Boris Johnson. I think the reason why he's so popular is because there's a poem by, was it Rudyard Kipling?
A poem?
Boring.
And it said, the end said, if you can walk with kings and have the commons touch. Excuse the pun, he's got the commons touch.
Yeah, getting touched in the Commons by Boris Johnson. Yeah,
I mean,
sure many people can tell you that
very,
story.
down to earth with people in the street, with people he meets. And
are you kidding me?
Laugh and joke with people. He hasn't
down
got
to
that.
earth.
He's not pedantic like some of the other politicians.
It's an act, Sam.
I know, but they're all acting. They're all actors, like Shakespeare said. Everyone's acting. And you know what? I think that what it is, I believe he's come from the Arctic Circle.
Who has?
Boris.
He's come from the Arctic Circle?
Yes,
well,
because
that makes
he looks
sense.
like a polar bear. I always thought that about him. I thought he looked like a polar bear.
Yeah. Well, he's as wide around. And I mean that with the greatest possible
bear.
respect.
It reminds me of a polar bear. I don't know why. It really
that's what I
does.
heard.
But anyway, so I think, well, I mean, he came to East Croydon. I live near Croydon. And I thought, I missed him. I'm sure he would have been very polite to me. And I thought, I would have liked to said hello. Because he looks approachable. He doesn't look like the type of person who's not, very...
Who's running a country. No, you're quite right.
Yeah, but I know he plays a clown, but at the end of the day, he has his wits about him. He's educated, and he knows what he's doing. he tries to please everyone.
Where's the evidence that he knows what he's doing?
Well, that's what he's got his ministers there for, to help him out.
Oh, right. So other people know what he's doing.
No, his ministers there, they all work as a team.
Do they?
I think so.
Yeah, I doubt it.
The thing is,
but they're fighting like rats in a sack.
I can't think about politics too much and Brexit. I feel sorry about
particularly on whatever you're on.
I'll block out Brexit. I just can't take it anymore. I don't even like Brexit. It sounds like biscuit, Brexit. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, I think it's a shame about Brexit. Why all this?
Oh, never mind, eh?
Politics has just gone down the drain.
Down the drain, yeah. Mm-hmm. One of those clean Great Yarmouth drains.
Yeah,
okay.
Great Yarmouth. It was wonderful. You know what? It had the longest line of souvenir shops ever.
In Great Yarmouth?
Souvenir shops.
What do they sell?
Over a mile long.
Well, I doubt that.
I couldn't get enough of those shops. And I was with my sister. I said, oh, wow, look at this shop.
But what are in those shops?
Trinkets.
Oh, trinkets.
Ornaments and rock and
knickknacks.
Yeah, they were lovely.
So what did you buy?
Over a mile long.
Yeah, you said that. What did you buy, Sam?
I bought shelves and rock.
Shelves?
Fudge.
Shelves?
Jewelry and...
Shelves? You bought shelves?
Shelves.
Oh, shells.
Shells on the seashore. The shells that she said, the seashore, I'm sure. It's medicine. I can't
you're gonna,
my medicine
whatever you're on, you do yourself a mischief trying to do she sells seashells on the seashore. Don't ever try that again, Sam.
I do that with my medication because I take it at night and it makes me sleepy.
Well,
and
exactly.
Fortunately, I should be like you. I should do your show at night because I'd be awake all night.
Yeah.
We'll put a creative writing group.
We'll put you on at the weekend, Sam. How does that sound?
And a creative writing teacher said to me, one girl said, oh, you talk too fast. The creative writing teacher said, well, you'll be good on the radio.
Well, that's a matter of opinion.
Anyway, and what happened was, politics. Oh, it's too much.
Well, we've been down that road, Sam.
Yeah, let's talk about something else. Trump.
No, I tell you what, let's not. Before your medication really
he's like
kicks in.
Leader. And you know that woman, worldwide currency, big OneCoin, it's a big scam, worldwide scam.
Yeah.
She's an evil genius like Trump.
I've got no idea what you're talking about now.
There's a OneCoin business, OneCoin, cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
It's been exposed as a worldwide scam.
Right. Well, whatever it is you just said, I completely agree, apart from all the points in which I don't, if that helps.
Yeah, but the woman has not been arrested. She's got double PhD, evil genius.
Oh, she's two doctors.
She's got one person's got arrested, and she's got.
Yeah, okay. Well, I don't want to talk about that, Sam. What colour were the pills that you took, by the way?
What?
What colour were they?
What was
the pills?
One was pink.
Oh well, that explains a lot. Okay, thanks a lot, Sam. 0345 6060. I ran out of the pink ones a little while ago. Damn it! Never been the same since. John from Sussex says, train toilets. If you go through a manual door, You lock it when inside. The sliding ones need the same. The problem is that there is no standard arrangement for the locking buttons, switches, levers, and people get confused. If not locked, outside light shows toilet to be available. I opened the door on someone yesterday. Sorry, previous texter. Licking the show. Licking the show.
Disgusting.
It seems logical to me that if you close a door by using the button inside the toilet, then you want that door to be locked. Yes? Because a door to a toilet will close automatically if it's left open for a while and nobody presses the close button because there's seats right there. You know, the seats that nobody actually wants to sit in, right next to the toilet. Same as in a restaurant. I mean, there's a table that you don't want to sit in, and it's the one right next to the toilet. But it just doesn't seem to make any sense. Why do you need to press two buttons, for crying out loud? Both of which are encrusted in ick. Ew. Martina says, Nick London, could you imagine Rudy Giuliani running London with Trump taking over and then Boris and his entire motley crew? Hey, I wonder if Motley Crue are playing Rock in Rio.
Rock and roll!
Maybe not. His entire motley crew trying to run the country, and let's not say Brexit. Spitting Image has got nothing on all of this. Yeah, Spitting Image is going to have to really go some to beat this kaleidoscopic clown show that we're going on here in a moment. They're going to have to get lots and lots and lots of writers, it being a British production, they probably won't. They'll have one writer desperately trying to squeeze the funny out of himself, and then he'll fall flat on his face, or she, sexist, after about 6 shows. Tooting, hello Max.
Hello there, how's it going, Nick?
Hello there. Good, thanks.
I have to call you a legend. You know that for me, you took over Steve. What? What's his name? Steve Allen.
Yes, Steve Allen.
Steve Allen and James O'Brien.
Mm-hmm.
James O'Brien. Stephen Fogarty.
Yes.
I think you are the top. You know. For me, you are the top person.
Toppermost.
You are the one of the top person. You know that.
One of. Well, wait a minute. We're backing down now. One of. What does that mean?
No, because what it is just making me laugh all the time. Because actually, it's, I don't know why, but because actually I travel, you see, every weekend. You see.
Yes.
Because of my family business and everything.
Right.
And I just only come back from Saudi Arabia, and I'm actually flying back to another country this weekend.
Saudi Arabia. And, what do you want to go there for?
Because my dad's from there, you see.
Oh, I see. Right.
My mum's from Scotland, you see.
So you got it.
Yes.
Right.
And what it is, you see, talking about Bojo, he's changing his mind. I don't know what's happening in this country, because I don't live in this country no more. I was born in this country. I don't know what Brexit is. It's a matter of me going out there, you see, coming back. And every time I come back to this country, it's a different story.
Yeah, if you leave Saudi Arabia and come here, and this country...
Saudi Arabia is one of the best people. That's why my dad actually left it, you see. He moved to Pakistan because in the 70s, he didn't like it. Because the matter of torture.
Well, yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, there's the list of things not to like is would stretch from here to there, baby. Here, listen, Max, I got to go, but I appreciate you saying that this show's the tippity-toppity.
It's incredible in, as we would say, tippy-top shape. Tippy-top.
Thanks, Donnie. You're the best. You're the best, worst president ever. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850, email nicka@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. We're going to go away for the new news and then come back with more on toilets and Boris Johnson's hair. We only deal with the issues on this show.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
I'd like to punch him in the face.
This is absolute tosh.
I've decided that I'm going to win all of that money. No one else need apply. Tom says, did Max, the previous caller, just call Steve Allen still Allen? Please can you refer to Steve as this in the future? You want me to call him this? Paul in Hampshire says, it astounds me the amount of people that adore this phony, bumbling Billy Bunter character. You've got to be soft in the head. God help us all when we have to leave, says Paul in Hampshire, who is not pulling his punches. Boris Johnson always looks to me like a sticky-fingered schoolboy.
I think he's betraying a quite stupefying ignorance.
Doesn't he? Doesn't he look like a sticky-fingered schoolboy, a naughty schoolboy who needs to get corrected? Tom says, is Sir Sam related to Sarah Palin? That was a caller we had some moments ago. Stop picking fights with each other, really? I mean, people, come on. Be nice.
Be polite.
Here is Seattle. Hello, Matt.
Hello, Nick. Nice to talk to you again. You and the team are always very good to me. What I wanted to say is that about Boris Johnson, if I used one of those word processing, software things, and fed in all the callers' dialogue, there's one word that if I searched would come up more than any other, and that's hair. The cultural significance of hair is amazing. Like starting from Samson and Delilah in the Bible, and going through the ages. And there was a musical called Hair, and even our friend in the White House. People obsess on his hair, and it always interests me. And I don't want to stay on the phone too long because of the other callers, but I've got two personal stories. Someone very close to me, sadly, developed alopecia. And she chose to sort of shave her head and spend 2,000 quid on one of those beautiful real hair wigs.
2,000?
And that was important to her.
2,000?
Yeah,
that's how much a wig costs? Good grief.
Yeah, well, not the ones you buy at Halloween, from your local dollar store, but or pound shop. But to get someone's donated hair, and even my mum, who's very frugal, was like, I bet that cost about 2,000. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. But there's another friend of mine who has cancer, and she's, I won't name anyone, by the way, don't worry, but she's branded herself as bald. And she's a very beautiful young woman, but she decided to go the other way. And it just fascinates me. Why do we keep on and on about hair? There's two other parts. Don't worry, don't hover over the delay. I'm not going to know the bits that you think. But there's two other parts of the body that, don't worry, that are just as dear to people's vanity, and it always touches me. Don't worry. And that's eyes and feet. It's not the parts in the middle.
Right.
Don't worry. As I said, I wouldn't do that to LBC.
Eyes and feet. Well, eyes, yes. Feet.
Well, don't forget, I'm a little bit biased because I've worked for years with ballet dancers, and then, you walk into the front room, not with ballet dancers, but you walk into the front room and, if you're heterosexual, like your girlfriend is like painstakingly painting the feet. You're on a date, and, you're sitting there in the restaurant, and there's three areas that you're concerned about, and they're not the middle bit. They're hair, eyes, and feet.
And
it's
feet.
The eyes.
I think that's just you, Matt. Feet.
Well, maybe it is, but I mean, what you do is you look at the beautiful girl next to you, and you're like, do my feet smell? That's what I mean. Or how are my eyes? It's her eyes that
do
caught me.
My
it wasn't her
feet smell? That's what goes through your mind when you're in a restaurant.
It goes through everyone's mind. It's like, what about my armpit?
I honestly, that has
never
never flitted its way across my mind. Like the echoing canyons of my mind, I have never ever thought in a restaurant, do my feet smell?
All right. Well, I'll concede you on that. And by the way, my feet are just fine. But
I didn't ask.
Certainly the eyes and the hair.
All right.
Yeah.
Your feet are fine. It's just everything else on you that's broken at the moment. All right. Thanks a lot, Matt. What was that about? It was a lot about feet.
Disgusting.
Which we don't wish to know. Darren said, I suspect the new spitting image will be absolute pants. Comedy is dead in this suffocating woke culture. it will be nothing but non-stop Trump and Boris Conservative bashing. Well, they are the parties in power. Of course they're going to be bashing Trump and Boris, because the whole point of Spitting Image is to act against the establishment, to pick holes in the people that are leading us. That's the point. Of course it's going to be Trump and Boris bashing. Plus, so easy. I mean, you don't really need to write any comedy. Just film them, and it's funny enough. I mean, the stuff that came out this week about Donald Trump and his blooming wall, absolutely hilarious. I may get to that. I'll have to do it tomorrow, I suppose, because I'm up to my eyeballs in hair and toilets here. Chertsey, hello, Tony.
Oh, hi there, Nick. And sorry about the there. I was thinking of something else when you mentioned Trump and his walls. Didn't Winston Churchill used to like building walls?
Well, not as much as Donald Trump does.
Well, I've never seen any of Donald Trump's walls. I mean, I think
they are the best walls ever. Everybody says that. Believe me.
Yeah. I can believe it. Now what else was I thinking about? Oh well, yes. Toilet door controls. That sort of piques my interest because as a designer myself of a few things, not many.
What? Like what? What have you designed?
I designed a control circuit for a device to measure the consumption of engines.
Wow! Please tell me less.
Say again, Mick. I didn't really hear that last bit.
Oh, good. Yeah,
good.
Let's just draw a
Yeah,
veil over that, Tony. No, well, we don't wish to hear it, so that's perfect.
Yeah, but what I was thinking about was that the toilet door controls on the train emulate what you would normally do with a real door.
Yes, but that's the whole point. They're electric. Why would you be inside a toilet and close the door with the button and not want to lock it? For what possible reason would you not want to lock the door behind you?
Well, this is me trying to get into the mind of the designer, and I think that what he's trying to do, as I say, is to emulate the way you operate a normal mechanical door to make it simple.
No, he's not making it simple. He's making it more complicated by increasing the number of buttons you have to press by 100%.
Right. So that if you don't take the final stage in the design process and see whether it has worked to the satisfaction of the users, then this is the sort of result that you get.
The users? Oh, please, keep it clean.
And talking of keeping it clean, if you're worried about the ick on the buttons, Nick, why don't you just use your foot?
Because I'm too concerned that it's going to be smelly, Steve. Please, I refer you to the caller I had some moments ago. You know, designers are by and large rubbish. How many times have you sat in a chair and you think, wow, this is the most uncomfortable chair I've ever sat in my life? And it's gone through a designer, probably a team of designers, and it's gone through the head designer, and they all say, yes, that's an excellent chair there. And then it goes to the head of manufacturing, and he thinks or she thinks it's a good chair, and then it gets made into the physical product, and then it's sold to shops who think it's a good chair, and people come into the shops and they buy the chair thinking it's a good chair, and it's a bad chair. The amount of chairs you sit in that are not ergonomically correct to the human form, I don't know who they're making them for, but they're just dreadful. Designers, just because you're a designer doesn't mean to say that you're actually any good at your job.
No, that's right. Design involves quite a lot of discipline.
Doubtful. Discipline?
Well,
what does that mean?
No, discipline.
Discipline. Yes, they should be.
Yeah, there are certain clubs that you could go to for that sort of thing.
Yeah, I bet there are.
But take a classic designer like, say, Hepplewhite, for instance. He made some good chairs. And what about the guy that designed a Chesterfield? Now, to my mind, they're about the most comfortable sofas you could ever sit on.
No. Leather.
No?
Leather is not a good surface to sit on. It's too cold in the winter and it's too hot in the summer. It's true.
Well,
Why does everybody insist on leather, particularly in cars? I mean, I know the alternative is not that great, but we have like that knitted vinyl stuff they used to put in old Mercedes. You remember old Mercedes had that knitted vinyl stuff? What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Better.
Yeah. Well, make a suggestion, Nick, and post it to yourself, and then start a company. Even if it's just in your workshop down the end of your car.
Yes. And by this time next year, millionaires.
Well, is that what you want, or do you want happiness?
I want both.
Isn't that better? Right, yeah, okay. And I see that in your mind, or it seems to me that in your mind, happiness and money are connected.
Of course they are. I mean, this old tripe about money doesn't bring you happiness, and they'll go round some dribbling moron that's just won the lottery and they've never had any money in their entire lives, and they blow it all on a fleet of cars, and then remember they can't drive. And all of their relatives come crawling out of the woodwork and pretend that they are, in desperate straits, and people start queuing out their front door because they went and blurted it out to the neighbours in their squalid estate that they've just won millions of pounds. So absolutely everybody they've ever met, and most of the people they haven't, suddenly want something from them. No wonder they're miserable.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't make me miserable, I can tell you that right now.
All right. Well, that does seem to me something about money. It seems that it causes far more problems than it solves.
Nonsense.
No?
That's absolute rubbish. Of course it doesn't.
Well, what about envy and greed?
Well,
isn't that a direct result of
you
money?
could say people. Well, it could be a direct result of being fabulously good looking.
What, greed and envy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Of being popular, that makes people envious.
Well, what about greed then? Because you can't be greedy for a beautiful person. You can be envious, but not greedy.
Well, you can be. You can have a habit of flitting from one beautiful person to another.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
You can have an appetite, so to speak.
I will be so great to women. I cherish women.
Yeah.
Do you revere, say, the beautiful female form?
Revere? What does that mean?
Like.
What, with both hands, you mean?
I cherish women.
Yeah.
Well, easily, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that's a good one. I'd never heard him say that before.
Oh, he says it. He says it a lot. Have you heard him say this?
Touch, feel. That's what I do.
LBC. This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Anybody care what this guy thinks?
No!
This says, regarding train toilets, the lock button. Pressed the open button once from the outside, and before I even realised what I'd done, a loud no emerged from inside. Seconds before the entire car, with me in a front seat, got hit with this image of a drunk lady sitting on a toilet. I pressed the close button ASAP, but guess who somehow became the centre of this unfortunate embarrassment? Wasn't even my fault, but ended up trying to explain myself to a group of strangers on this train for something I hadn't even done. It weren't me. I had done nothing. The doors close so slowly as well. It takes an age. You go in there and you press the close button, and there's a good few seconds before the door bursts into life and crawls its way closed, during which time you're just standing there waiting for it to happen, in full view of everybody else that's in the carriage. And I always feel as though I should be doing something while that's going on, because I just feel it's a bit suspicious. I'm just standing here. But what can you do? Check your phone? See if your feet smell? Paul says spitting image has to feature Michael Fabricant. No, they've got to stick with the big characters. I mean, I know he's a character and all, but plus they will have only so much budget for wacky hair. Johan, Greenwich.
Hi, Nick. I hope you washed your hands in your toilet break.
I certainly did, yes.
Excellent. Well, actually, I just worked it out. Why you need the other button, because if you didn't, you wouldn't be able to distinguish between closing the door from the outside or the inside.
Well, surely the machine knows.
How would the machine know?
Well, because you press because you press the button inside.
Right, but then if you did that.
Oh, I've just figured it out. I've just figured it out. Because if a hooligan presses the button and then leaps out, then then it would remain closed and there wouldn't be anybody in there. Right. Yeah. Oh, see, just think about it for a while.
By the way, talking of Trump,
do
you think he'd be allowed his golden toilet in prison? Well,
we'll find out.
And what's your final decision on whether he's going to come in for a second term? Because you didn't prevaricate him. You started saying he would have a second term.
Yeah, always.
And then you said he would have a change.
No, I've always said that Donald Trump's going to have a second term, and I'm still sticking with that. Yes, I'm sticking with that. Yeah, that's my decision, and I'm sticking with it.
Okay, Nick.
All right. Okay, thanks, Johan. 0345 6060 973. It's because of his presidential mien.
I can be more presidential than anybody.
And his temperament, of course.
But I have a strong temperament, and it's a very good temperament, and it's a very in-control temperament. I have a very strong temperament, but I have a temperament that's totally under control.
He's the leader of the free world. I know I've said this before, but if aliens from space came down and asked to be taken to our leader, we'd have to send them to him.
Oh, shut up!
I think that they would take offence, thinking that we were kidding with them. And we would then be subject to all-out intergalactic war. This says, if money doesn't make that last bloke happy, can I have his? Thanks. It's so annoying when you get people who've just won the lottery who then start whining about it, a couple of months later saying, oh, I'm not happy. Well, why'd you play in the first place then if money isn't going to make you happy? Just send me a cheque. I'd be delirious. This says, I once pressed a button on a train in Holland and the train stopped. I thought it was the button for the toilet, but it stopped the train. Wow. Right. So, you thought it was a button to facilitate a movement, and it actually stopped it. Huh. Seven Oaks. Hello, Mark.
Hi. I've got an answer to your toilet question.
Yes.
If somebody's frail and goes to the toilet, they might want a friend to stand outside. They might want to shut the door but leave it unlocked. So if they fall over, for example, the friend can come and help them. They may not be able to reach the controls to get the door open themselves from the inside. And the friend outside obviously can stop other people coming in.
Well, that is an interesting concept, but I think I had it with the hooligans might want to press the button and then leap out before the door closed, thereby shutting it off for anybody else.
Well, that may be right, but I suspect it's less common than the example I've given. And what's more, the example I've given is not an example of somebody trying to disrupt the system, but somebody actually trying to use it properly.
Right. Well, that may be, Mark, but I prefer my example. So,
okay, no. Really what I rang up about was to ask you about the coming general election. Would you think that it's a good idea for moderates to aim for a hung parliament?
How would they do that?
Well, it depends on the likely voting in their constituency and how people are doing on the polls. I mean, they have to use a certain amount of judgment and intelligence to work out what to do.
Oh, well, then we're screwed.
Well, I think the last election, when I was supporting this idea, the Lib Dems were second in about 84 seats. So just voting for the Liberal Democrats would not necessarily be the right thing to do in every seat.
Right, but what do you mean the right thing to do?
To arrange for a hung parliament.
I think we're going to get that whatever happens. I mean, the latest polls show that nobody is really. But what the latest polls show is that we don't really like any of them. Well, I'll have none of the above, please.
Yes, well, that's one way of getting a moderate result. I mean, the Labour Party is now rather more left-wing than it was a little while back, and the Conservative Party is rather more right-wing than it was a little while back. And so moderates might not want either of them. And so if there's a hung parliament, what they will get is something that is more in the middle, because whoever is Prime Minister, they will have to compromise their more radical policies.
Unless they get into bed with even more radical parties than themselves.
Well, there aren't really.
Well, there are. Yes, there are. The Conservatives could team up with the Nigel Party and the DUPs.
We've got a few idiots in our party.
And then where would we be?
Well, people therefore should make sure that they, in their aim for a hung parliament, they make sure that those people don't get too many votes.
This is way too complicated, Mark. Just vote for the people that most closely resemble where you are in life, where your head's at, man.
The trouble is that for a lot of moderates, there isn't such a person.
Aren't they the Liberal Democrat? How about the Greenies?
Well, no, I mean, I wouldn't say the Liberal Democrats. Sorry, that it's not really right. But the Liberal Democrats might be such people, but it may well be that voting tactically in a situation, you might want to vote for somebody else because they're not really in the race in that particular seat.
Yeah, I understand that, but the scenario that I've just posited is a possibility that you might tactically vote for a more centrist result and get a more extreme result by default.
Well, if you misjudge your tactics, that's possible. But I mean, obviously you would have made a mistake under this.
Yeah, it'd be an error. Yes.
But I mean, at the moment, certainly for those people who are not particularly keen on Brexit, the Labour Party, in fact, all the parties apart from the Conservative and the Brexit Party, will have another referendum on the EU issue, so it'll give people a chance to have another vote on it.
You know, if the Labour Party teamed up with the Liberal Democrats and the Greenies, they'd have over 50%, which would be a phenomenal win, and the Conservatives would probably be out of power for at least 10 years.
Yes, well, I mean that combination would suit me, because it would be the end of Brexit. And it'll also probably be quite a moderate.
Well, exactly. That sounds like a moderate coalition. Whereas a coalition of the Conservatives, the DUP, and the Nigel Party.
Well, that's a right-wing coalition. Well, there's no question about that.
There's nothing centrist about that at all.
No. The point is that some people are frightened of Jeremy Corbyn as Prime Minister. But
yes. But if they did team up with the Lib Dems and the Greenies, then they would be pulled back from the left and more into the centre, where I imagine Brexit apart is where most people in this country are, in the middle, more or less. There's extremes, but that's not the majority. The majority do not lie on the extremes if we just take Brexit out. Well, now, once Brexit's done and we cease to be a single-issue country anymore, then we'll start to think about all the other things that are actually more, important to our everyday lives. And it seems, I'm just thinking this up off the top of my head now, but if the Labour Party and the Lib Dems and the Greenies got together, then they would be pulled back from the edge of the left. Whereas if it was the Tories, the Nigel Party and the DUP, then the right wing of the right wing Conservatives would be pulled even more right wing, even further away from the centre.
Yes, I totally agree with that. I mean, the fear, I think, of some people about Jeremy Corbyn relates to him being Prime Minister of a Labour majority government. But if he was Prime Minister
of a... It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. That's right. So it's not such a... that fear shouldn't really be there, because he will be moderated by the Lib Dems, by Scott Nats and the Greens and so on.
Yeah. All right, interesting times. Thanks a lot, Mark. There were some polls that came out this week that are quite interesting. I'll get to those in just a minute. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday and Saturday nights at 10, Nick Abbott, LBC. It's 12:30, the news headlines with Zora Sullivan.
Buckingham Palace. Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
Everything is going extremely well.
You bet your life it is. John says, whilst you're on the loo... What? Oh, you mean the subject of the loo. He says, have you heard Porthcawl Council has replaced its public toilet with a weight-sensitive public loo due to sexual activities occurring in the public toilets? The council has installed a new loo with weight sensors and an automated door and spray jets. Sounds like a fairground ride. Anyone hoping for some hanky-panky in the new toilets will apparently hear a loud audible warning sound.
Warning, warning.
And then there's jets sprayed prior to the doors automatically opening wide. For everyone to see your shame. Jets sprayed, you say, all over you. That sounds like the beginnings of a legal dispute, doesn't it? Susan in Harefield says, what a load of rubbish. Give me the money and I'll be happy. This is about somebody saying that money doesn't make you happy. Well, if you don't think that money makes you happy, then you don't know where to shop. Edinburgh. Hello, Trevor.
Hello.
Trevor.
Hello there.
Hello
yeah,
there.
I was listening to that. I was listening to that man speaking to you earlier on about money not necessarily making you happy. Well, all I can say is I've been very poor in my life and I've been comfortably off, and I know which one I would prefer to be.
Yes.
In this world. You know, I was at a point once where I was homeless and I was on the street and I never had a job. Things improved. I got lucky. Some people helped me. I got back into working again. And when I got back to having a place and being able to afford to buy things again and do things again, I thought, in this world, it is impossible. I don't care where you are in the world. There is not a country in this world you could live in right now in 2019 where you would not require to have any money at all.
Yeah, but we weren't talking about that. I mean, that's the extreme end of... but we were talking about... I honestly can't remember what we were talking about, but I think it was something about the lottery, wasn't it? Or something about that.
Yeah.
Winning a vast amount of money doesn't... You know what? It doesn't necessarily make you happy, but it makes you happier.
Yes, that's true. It's true. I mean, there's a program that used to go on TV and it said, How the Lottery Ruined My Life,
yeah,
or whatever it was called. Some guy won all this money, and because he was somebody who liked to drink and all the rest of it before he won the money, you know, he'd always been somebody who liked to go drink and stuff. Well, the money gave him the ability to go out and continue his habit into extremes. Now, of course, that is not the fault of the money. That is the fault of how the person interprets the sudden...
Of course.
You know, there's a great book you can get. There's a fabulous book you can get written by an Irishman called J.P. Dunleavy. And there's a chapter in it, and it says on it, upon suddenly inheriting a vast fortune, and it says, sit down and think. An antique chair helps. And you have to sit there and plan out what you're going to do. You don't just rush out and so off suddenly. Because the national lottery tonight, the amount that somebody's won or might win is £169 million.
Yeah.
Now, I would say that's an excessive win.
Well, I will need all of that amount, Trevor. In fact, I'm so confident of winning it that I've spent most of it already.
I would honestly tell you now, if I win that kind of money, I could honestly say here, hand on heart, I would give at least 60% away. And
to me?
Give it away. Yeah, I'd give it away to people.
Well, no, wait a minute. People? I'm not sure we can actually share it about. It's not that much.
No, 106. No, I would give it out to...
Me?
I've got a lot of people that I know who are people who are just ordinary working people, organisations who do a lot of good for other people.
Oh, never mind about that. Just give it to me, Trevor.
No, I couldn't do that because, you see, you're already a very well-heeled young man, you know, and... no, you are. Seriously, you are.
How do you know? You don't know anything about... I haven't got any money. I haven't got any money at all.
No,
Zero. I have minus money.
For the last 20 years, I have been doing research.
Oh, yeah.
Earnings worldwide.
Yeah, Moneybags Abbott. Yeah, research, you say.
Yeah, well, studying the declared online public domain salaries that are earned by various types of workers in the UK.
Yeah.
I could tell you to the penny just about the police chief's salary in London, or a social work salary in Edinburgh, or a taxi driver's likely earnings in the city of Manchester.
Yeah, all that's true, because that all of those people earn an amount that is that doesn't differ really from one position to the next. But when you get into football, for instance, or show business, or running corporations, for instance, then then it's all funny money.
The disparity here is that while people need a decent wage to live on, I mean, I remember the Prime Minister once saying that he couldn't live on £500,000 a year. In fact, he called it chicken feed, and I've got the quote. I was looking on the interview, and I thought to myself...
Well, no, specifically what he said was chicken feed was the £250,000 that he got from the Daily Telegraph for, in his words, dashing off a column in half an hour. Chicken feed. That's what he said.
Yeah. You're right. You see, and the trouble is, though, we're now in a country where the gap between the rich and the poor, there is no doubt that it's growing. There's no doubt about that.
Well, they would say that the opposite is true, but I agree with you.
Well, I would tell you why it is growing. Because in Scotland, where I live, there's 2 food banks quite near to where I stay, and I speak to the people who work in them. One is run by a church, the other one's run by a charitable organisation. And they get food from big stores that gather the food from customers who are kind enough to buy stuff and put it into community boxes, which then get distributed out.
Well, you mean that you can't just help yourself on the way out? I thought that stuff was free,
no, you can't.
As a bonus for shopping here.
But the point is, though, in Britain now, official government records, which you can go online and check, say that 5.3 million people in the UK, and many of them are in jobs. Many of them, they're not all unemployed, homeless people or derelict people. Many, in fact, 72% of the users of food banks are people who work. 72%. That means out of 5.3 million people, they don't earn enough money to properly feed themselves and afford their life, so they have to rely on a food bank.
Yeah, people are going to object to that conclusion and say that...
it's true,
and paint them... I don't doubt the numbers, but we don't really know what kind of a life those people live that are availing themselves of food banks. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're starving to death if you go and get free food.
Maybe you're not absolutely destitute, but the fact remains that the growth in food banks has quadrupled in the last 12 years. Quadrupled.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
You carry that another 12 years, that means there'll be 10, 9, 12, 13 million people using food banks in 10 years. That means there's a gap between what people earn. Now, Boris Johnson has said recently that he wants the minimum wage to be, the living wage to be £10.50 an hour by 2025, and in the next 5 years anyway, right? Now, 5 years ago, a friend of mine who leads a party in Scotland, he's a political party leader, it's called Colin Fox, he was campaigning 5 years ago for a £10 minimum wage for every worker in Scotland. 5 years ago. So when Mr Johnson's secretary, his man in finance, Mr Javid, comes out and says, we want a £10.50 wage, that's a good move, but it's very slow, because in 10 years' time, 5 years' time, house prices, especially in London, will have gone up by about another 7, 8, 9%.
Right, okay. You're really starting to depress me now, Trevor. Oh, really, it's just like the life's just draining out of me listening to you.
No, but please let me just say this. We're living in an economy in the United Kingdom that is running away from millions and millions of people financial-wise.
Yeah, I know that.
And unless we pull that back very sharply in the next couple of years, we're going to find ourselves...
Right, well, it's not going to happen. There's going to be no pullback very sharply, and increasing the living wage by a pound here and there ain't going to make no difference to no one. It'll make people feel better, perhaps, and it will allow politicians to say that they care about the poor and the left behind, but it's not really going to make any difference.
Look, it's not the answer to the world. The answer to the world would be full-blown Marxism in every single country.
The answer is a more caring society along the lines of Denmark, for instance. I mean, it's not like we have to imagine like full-blown communism or socialism. Just let's be nicer to each other. Wouldn't that be nice?
Be polite.
Exactly. Here, Trevor, I've got to go. 0345 6060 973. I've got to go because, there's a lot of people want to talk to me about toilets. And we only like to deal with the issues on this show. Jason says, I once got locked in a train toilet and they delayed the train until I was freed. The driver gave the driver gave frequent updates along the lines of, we're still delayed as we have a passenger trapped in the toilet. I finally emerged red-faced to rapturous applause. Good boy. Who's a good boy? That kind of thing. Mike says, you do harp on about how terrible it is that we voted out. No, I do not. I do not harp on about how terrible it is that we voted out. I don't think that phrase has ever dropped off my lips. And he says, and that we are driving towards a cliff edge and disaster. Well, perhaps. I may have said that. If we remain, we'll be at the effect of 27-1. If we remain, we will be at... Well, it actually says that. I assume that that's one too many T's. If we remain, we will be at the effect of 27-1 majority voting, sidelined and made the effect of whatever the EU thinks is a good idea. I think it's you Remainers who are into short-termists. Be honest, does that make any sense?
No.
But it fits right in. 0345 6060 973. Let's have Holborn. Tony.
Oh, hi, Nick. Good evening. Very funny show tonight. Very funny. Nearly nodded off with that last guy.
It was a little
I was
bit,
following it, and then a kind of
depressing
haze came over me. Well, it was okay. I just wanted to tell you about, we were talking about money and the lottery, etc. And you are correct, but I just wanted to throw another aspect into the mix, because if you lined 100 people up and they didn't have much money, or they won more money, they would be happier than they were before they won the money. That's true. However, there's a fantastic book.
Now, wait a minute. They would be happy. Wait. They would be happier before they earned the money.
No, they would be happier once they've received money that they've won.
Right.
Than before when they didn't have the money.
Yes.
That's a given. Let's say that's a given for argument's sake. But I read this book. It's not Shakespeare, it's not Jane Austen. It's called Living on the Lottery. It's probably one of the best books I've ever read. And it was by a writer called Hunter Davis. And Camelot, who did the lottery at the time, I don't know if they still do, because I don't do it, but they were the sponsors. They gave him the rights and the permissions to interview 10 of the top lottery winners in the country.
Huh.
And I asked them, he asked them, different people, and I'll give you an example if you've got time, were they happier after they'd won the millions?
How can anybody say no? How could anybody say no?
Well, this is what I'm coming to. This is the reason for my call. I'll give you one example. There was this couple who lived in a very impoverished area up north. They'd never had any money. They were what they called, I don't know if this is derogatory, but they used to be called the underclass.
Yeah.
So that describes what I'm telling you.
Right.
And in this book, Hunter Davis interviewed them, and they said that they didn't want to go public. This is another area where he discussed whether people should go public.
No.
They didn't. No, but they didn't want to. So what happened was they didn't buy a car because they thought the neighbours would say, hang on, they haven't got a job, they're on the dole, how have they got a car? They didn't go on holiday. They didn't do anything. What happened was their life remained exactly as it was before they won. I think it was something like 10 or 11 million. I might have got the number.
Oh, for crying out loud.
It was an excessive amount of money.
Yeah.
But they thought people would latch on to why their lifestyle was so good if they didn't. So what happened was their lives didn't change. The only thing that changed is when they got their bank statement, there were multiples of numbers instead of minus.
Yeah.
They had loads of money, but they were miserable.
Frightened
because
to spend
they couldn't enjoy the money. So it's not quite as good. What I'm trying to say
what you have to do is just move out. Move out of your miserable existence. Get to a nicer place. Yes.
Can I answer that, Nick? Yeah. he suggested that to them, and they said, if we move to somewhere like Stockbroker, Surrey, for example, and I remember this from a book,
the neighbours would snub them.
Yes, and they wouldn't be able to integrate because they didn't have the background, the education to fit in with that environment.
Right. Well, they should have thought of that before they bought a ticket.
Well, that's as maybe, but sometimes people buy a ticket and they think, if I win the millions, everything would be great, everything would be rosy. So the other aspect I'm saying is it's probably self-inflicted when people don't realise the happiness that they thought they were going to get.
You know what I would have done in that position? I would have got all my closest personal neighbours and friends and spread the money about a bit instead of just sitting there looking at it continuing to pile up, petrified to let on that they actually had any. Well, what's the point of that? I mean, if you're not going to spend it, then you might as well just chuck it about.
Exactly. And have I got 2 minutes to tell you one other thing?
Oh, all right then. 1 minute.
Yeah, 1 minute. This couple of brothers bought a car business. They won, I think it was 21 million, and they didn't know anything about cars. And the business went bust. They fell out over arguments. They had begging letters, and they didn't have anybody to deal with them. Blah blah blah. And the upshot of that was that the happiness wasn't realised that they expected. It was instantaneous when they won the money, but it ended up pretty disastrous.
Well, there's something to be said for not getting a lot of money all at once. You know, it will send people off the rails. Like young people that have a hit record, for instance, and suddenly they've got more money than God, and they're surrounded by people who want something from them, then they can go off the rails. Same with footballers. I mean, they ain't that bright, and suddenly they're being paid £100,000 a week. Of course they're going to go nuts. But if you... you know what? These people should cease the complaining.
Stop whining.
You were in the game and you won. Stop complaining about it.
Yeah. But it does just prove that point, that it doesn't necessarily bring happiness because it's self-inflicted.
Yes, that's right. It does not lead to happiness, but it makes you happier. Or no, that's actually not true either. It removes some of the things that decrease your happiness, like not being able to afford stuff, not being able to eat and heat, for instance. All right, thanks a lot, Tony. 034. I'd rather be miserable and full and warm. How about you? 0345 6060 973. Friday and Saturday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbot. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Come on, we're running late.
Tina says, the drain lady. The drain lady says she would buy me a great car if she won the lottery. Well, thank goodness for that, because I am definitely in want of a great car. Or any car. Just buy me any car, Tina, but not the one that I've already got, because that one doesn't work. I might have mentioned that once or twice. Phil says, your hooligan theory does not stack up because these loos have a timeout feature. If you take too long, the door will automatically open, even if you've locked it. What? Even if you've locked the door, it automatically opens after a certain amount of time. If you take too long. What is it? A piles prevention measure? What is this? I think we should do an LBC exclusive investigation.
Should we do it? Yeah.
No. John says, can you imagine an unfortunate, unsuspecting mummy taking a child into that loo? Surprise, you only paid for one bum on the seat. Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't sound likely, does it? That the door swings open, you get sprayed if there's two people in there, or the weight of two people in there. And on that subject, Chris says, a weight limit in a loo with alarms, jets and open doors. Time for us tubby types to lose weight. Or embrace exhibitionism. Whatever. Yeah, put it away, Chris. Nobody wants to see that.
Disgusting.
Chard, Rebecca.
Hi, Nick. I thought I'd give you a bulletin about our boy Nigel. Nigel Farage.
Yeah, the new news. Go on.
key questions tonight. So I'll set the scene. There were 4 of them. There was the usual Tory, Conservative, middle-aged male. Then there was the bleeding heart environmentalist, the woman. There was Barry Gardner from the Labour Party, and our boy Nigel. Well, Nigel got a really rough ride. The audience, it was near Bristol, and every time he said something with his laughing, jocular manner, they weren't impressed at all. They didn't.
Nigel Farage is not fit and proper to be in government.
Yes.
Anyway, but when he suggested that the only way that Boris could prosper is if he made an alliance with Nigel, the audience went completely quiet in absolute shock horror. It was really good fun. And then the environmentalist said to Nigel, they were talking about politics, and Nigel suddenly said, well, I've been in politics for 27 years. And the environmentalist said, isn't it a pity, Nigel, because if you, with your personality and your energy, had to put your 27 years into climate change, you could have done an awful lot, rather than buggering up Britain with your politics. And the whole audience were cheering her on.
Huh.
She then turned to the Conservative guy, and she was saying, well, you've got nothing to talk about because of your austerity. Because of your austerity, you've buggered up the climate change, and you've killed all the insects and everything else.
Yeah, the language that they can get away with on that show is remarkable.
Anyway, well, I can. It's too late. Anyway, he suddenly, out of the blue, the Conservative, started banging the table and was shouting at her. The chairman lost complete control.
Why can't people just get along?
And he was shouting, do you think we enjoy doing austerity? Don't you blame us for austerity? And I was so embarrassed I had to go and hide behind the sofa.
Well, yeah, I'm thinking of doing that right now. Well, thanks for the update, Rebecca. And in closing...
We've got a few idiots in our party.
Yeah, just a couple. 0345 6060 973. Stephen Edinburgh says, money doesn't bring happiness, it just means you can be unhappy in a nice place. Yes! That's right, without the fear of not being able to pay your bills. I mean, I've been in that position. I mean, I haven't got any money. I haven't got any money, but I've been in the position where, if you have real money troubles, you got this dark cloud that follows you everywhere. And I can vividly remember you waking up first thing in the morning, and the moment you wake up, you feel like sort of free, and that you don't have any problems in the world. And in about a second, the dark cloud's above you again. But that first second when you wake up, bliss. So, people, if you win if my scheme does not work out, because I've got a system with the lottery. Oh, yeah, you wouldn't believe it. I hit the button marked Lucky Dip. Has it been lucky so far?
No.
No, it's been unlucky dip. In fact, I am the unlucky dip for pressing it in the first place. But when I win £169 million, you will not hear me whinging and whining and moaning.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
Stephen Edinburgh says, no, I read that one just now, idiot. John says, can you imagine I've read that one too. Doing repeats. Rob says, if I won £169 million, I would buy my own army and conquer the universe. Well, now you're thinking. That does make perfect sense. Enfield. Hello, John.
Oh, good evening, Nick.
John.
I would like you to pass a compliment on to Banksy for that wonderful picture that he's written. It's worth every penny.
Which one?
The one with all the monkeys, you know.
Oh, he just sold that for £10 million or something ridiculous like that.
No,
he's a cartoonist.
It should be hung above the speaker's head.
He should.
No, the picture.
Oh, it should.
His head in Parliament and so on. And probably he can go along to the zoo and apologise
to the apes.
Monkey nut. Park.
Yeah, well, that is a good point. Yeah, okay, no doubt.
A big sack of monkey nuts.
Yeah.
Taking note of that picture, you know, It's a wonderful...
Well, I think that may be stretching it a bit. Banksy's just a cartoonist who got lucky. The amount of cartoonists that do as good work and get nothing, but that's art. It's not necessarily the best artists that make the most money. Just ask Tracy; she'll tell you. Be honest, Trace. Now, what might happen between now and 10 o'clock this evening? Well, it just blows my mind even thinking about it. But we'll chew it up and we'll spit it out then, eh? In the meantime, if you stick around, I do believe that Steve Allen will... God, look at that. The list of texts and emails I haven't read. There must be 100 of them there. I do apologise. This show is not being conducted in the correct manner. But I'll do better tomorrow. If you stick around, Steve Allen will set you straight at 5 o'clock. But right now, it's Matt Stadler.
Nick, I've got lots of things to talk to you about. Very briefly, Tracy Emin, by the way, fed me roast chicken in her house in the south of France quite a long time ago. Did you know that? Did she wash her hands first? I very much hope so. Have you heard? My book is out, How to See Birds. With your eyes? No.
It's 1 page long. 3 words.
One sentence.
With your eyes.
No, you're still not following me on Twitter, or you know these things. I was in Kensington Palace last night pretending to be Prince Harry. There was a Banksy on sale, a Banksy print. I wasn't actually pretending to be Prince Harry. By the way, most importantly, because it's what we're going to be talking about next, have you heard? What? We're not leaving on the 31st of October.
I bet we are.
I bet you we are not.
I bet we are.
I bet we're not.